Alright guys, so now let's go to do the renders on Anthony. And sadly I just have some really bad news here. Yesterday I had my computer and I was doing a restart, and I was with so many windows open, and as ever. So I was like closing all my applications in order to turn off my PC. And then when I was turning off I was closing all the applications. You can imagine I was closing my peer half, and then it was just open into that compared window. This one here, that window that I was copying and pasting all the comparing versions. And yeah, you know this is now my purehef file. Look, if I try to load it and load my recent Anthony Hopkins, I don't know what happened in my mind. I just, this is my folder, the reference, and once I check it here, you can see, let me show you, I overwrited the my purehef file. Look, I can't believe in it, but I lost all those references that I stored, that I saved, and all those things that I prepared for you. So here I'm trying to rebuild that board. I tried to take another reference again on Shutterstock and everything, but it was so many images that I lost. I really like it, that board, but I'm so sad about it, because I was planning even to use this later on, for other projects, and use as reference. And yeah, I tried some other softwares to recover it, and I just installed some other software in order to find that. And yeah, it didn't found anything. I even tried to find oldest versions, and nothing here. When the file is overwritten, I think we have nothing more to do. Just try to rebuild it. So I'm so sad about it, because I was truly happy with everything that you know I I I grouped it here. And yeah, I can even I don't know how to really rebuild that. I'm trying to do a little bit here. I'm but yeah, I'm feel really sorry about this, guys. I usually do so many backups files. Look, I'm used to save more than one version. Most of the time I do prefer to use the quick save. As you can see, I store a lot of quick save files, and but oftentimes I usually save some new versions, so I can avoid this thing happen. But in this case, it was just my reference board, so I would not imagine that it would happen. So it can be like a lesson also for you guys. So maybe it's also good to you for storing more than just one version of every file you created. So all the time, it's better to prevent than to happen, right? So be careful with that. And yeah, even though let's start with the rendering. For the rendering, I have to say you that I've made some tests here. I'm I pretty like it, this side lighting, just one lighting coming from his right side. Yeah, yeah, from his right side, but from the left side in the image, right? And I like it, this shadow. I don't know. I think this one, it was pretty nice for the likeness itself, and it was pretty easy to do. I just turned it on the shadows on ZBrush, the cast shadows, as we discussed before already. I put some background on him, and look, this is the shaded image, just with the mask, the mask, the BPR pass. When you do the BPR pass, it's gonna calculate for you a mask, and then you can import this mask over the same file, and then you can copy this information and paste inside a mask here in Photoshop. So once I press Alt key, I can enter this mask, and then I'm gonna have my layer with Anthony all free to move along where I want. And these two layers here are just some adjustment layers that I did on a pure gray window, pure gray layer, because here I created a curved layer, so I dropped a little bit the medium part, so it would make it darker, a gray. This was the gray color that I put, and and then I added some adjustment layers on top of it, just to make to choose the color that I found it was being better with Anthony, in this case, with this lighting information. So at first I added this radial, this gradient radial in this curved layer. At first it was like that. It was this gray layer, and this one just to make it darker, and then I entered here in the masking, and I used the normal, where it is, I press G, yeah, the normal gradient tool, and then you can choose this one that will makes you some radial gradient, and then by default it comes like from white to dark to black, and then I enabled this reverse, just to have this nice fade in the background. And then I found this was not dark enough, so I added some hue saturation just to drop a little bit the lightness parameter, so I could manage how much I wanted. And also I changed the opacity of this fade, just to change it the way I found it was more harmonical, and I like it this way. But I'm gonna show you in ZBrush how I did this, and let's talk about all the process. Nothing fancy here. We could add more passes, like some ZDef or some other lightings. We can try it, but let me show you the overall process of making a pure render in ZBrush by using the BPR passes and composing it in Photoshop. So as you can see, we are not doing any we are not bringing him to any render engine, but maybe later on we can try some other, maybe on some other course, I don't know, we can try to do this, because we're gonna need maybe to unwrap these UVs and paint some texture in order to render him in a real engine render, but it can be really nice, and we could export some displacement maps and unwrap the UVs and paint other maps like specular and everything. Maybe do some XGen hair fibers, you know. It would also be better calculated and in a more realistic process than I think it's here in ZBrush, because you know the BPR render in ZBrush is not physical render, it's not physical based rendering, so it's just like some kind of faking light and material, but it also works as a nice presentation for this likeness, this kind of likeness work. So I do like to present my works like this. As you saw in the development of the course, I like to change some gray colors and have more profound grayscale shades in the work itself. Also in this case, I left the eyes like colored, just to make it similar to what we have with the actor with Anthony Hopkins. I think it would be better than just painting in grayscale, but you can do what you prefer, you know. It's just a personal option. I like to present my work like this because I feel it's easier to get accepted by the client and everything, because it looks more alive for me, even with the gray color. And in this case, for the skin, I do prefer to left it in gray. If it's not if I won't bring it to a render engine, I do prefer to left it as a gray color, because you know ZBrush doesn't have really nice skin material, so you can even paint the skin of the character here and make a very good skin painting, but it won't looks very that skin looking, you know, that realistic skin looking. Even if you turn on the SS on the material, as we saw it here, where it was, I don't remember, I think in lighting, yeah, in lights properties, we can turn on the SS and also turn on material. I think I actually never used that, because I don't find it the materials in ZBrush are very realistic, and when it comes to work with skin looking, it's very tough to make something realistic on ZBrush. So I do prefer to not try this, because we can provoke the uncanny valley on the model itself, and staying on the grayish color, I think it would be better for having like a nice presentation for likeness. This when it's inside ZBrush, but when it comes to a render engine, I think it would be better to have it on with a nice SS material, and also all the textures and everything to make it as realistic as possible, right? But here in ZBrush, you see that we painted that in layers. We have painted in a separate polypaint layer, and now we are using startup material, in this case the basic material for the head. Nothing different. I think I didn't change any parameters here, but you can change by yourself. Maybe change some specular curve here, and this will make it look different as well. You can change it and check by yourself what you prefer, maybe add in some ambient diffuse, but in this case I left all by default. And here I didn't change anything. you just can change some shadows and ambient occlusion here in the environment, but in this case I left it all by default. I just changed the properties for the materials of the eyes. I think this the eyes we were using, let me see, I think we were using the toy plastic material. Look, every time again, I think I've already said this, but every time, oh wait, yeah, I'm sorry, QR press was not turned on. So every time you can just click and drag the material here and left on where you, oh, what happened? You can left on where you want here in ZBrush, and you're gonna find which material is applied on the model. So I believe my ZBrush freezed. Let me check. Yeah, I don't know what's happened, but yeah, it's not freezed at all. So for the eyes, as I was talking, I was saying we have the toy plastic material, and remember that I didn't wanted that shadow in the contact with the eyes, so I believe I changed it here. Yeah, by default I think toy plastic comes by 100 in this parameter, so I left it as 11 for shadows, so this way it won't project that shadow, that weird shadow on the contact with the eyes, but you can always test by yourself and check what works or not on each project. You know, sometimes it can work and some lighting direction it can work, sometimes it not. As I said, I do prefer to do on the eyes here in ZBrush, I do prefer to paint it and fake it the colors. I think it would be more realistic than just left in the normal specular for the toy plastic, but I like the toy plastic because it makes the white pure white, so we can have the real colors that we, as we said, we saw in the reference there. Let me go back again to the viewing angle that we started. The lighting, by default it comes with this light here. I think I was using this light. Sometimes I tried to use this and, you know, sculpt my model, like if you press the shift key and you turn it downside like this. So I put this lighting like from bottom to top, an inverted direction, just to make some comparisons with that. Let me check here, with this reference that we were using. So sometimes you can also do this, you know, but here we're gonna need to invert again, and you know, I inverted just using the Alt and Shift key, grabbing from top to bottom, and then I'm gonna need to do the same in the horizontal axis. So this way you can also compare your work, and it's gonna also help you to break your addictive perception on the overall forms, and this way you can easily see more difference and more things that can be looking different from your model and the reference image that you are using, right? So because of this, I turned that lighting, but let me recover it here and go back here to the angle that I started. So the lighting, you can always change your lighting here. You have many kinds of lights here. I use it. You can just click and you're gonna turn on and turn off. And as you can see, this one was the default one that we were using, and I think it becomes the most the closest, the most similar with this one. I'm sorry, I think we have some bus here in this street. So I prepared this lighting, nothing fancy, just turn it on. And by default ZBrush have some lightings that have some different parameters. So maybe sometimes you can turn on some lighting, and even if you put the same parameter for the intensity and the ambient, I think I drop it to 0, the ambient parameter, but I'm not sure what are the default parameters. You can check here by comparing with my parameters here in this case, but you can see, let me see, yeah, it doesn't have any difference for me turning it on, the SSS, or turning it off. I believe if we used some material with this parameter, it could work, but in this case it didn't change nothing. Something that you just need to be sure is to turn on this shadow on light properties here, because look, if we turn on, let me show you. In this case, this is the shadow, the light that is enabled, and this is the direction. Let me show you. You can change for all direction. In this case, I'm changing this one. You can change the direction, and once you just click, it's gonna invert. Let me show you, like this one, right? If you click, yeah, this lighting here, I don't know why this one it looks like a little bit weird. It can be some parameter here, and the others, yeah, maybe this light cap, I don't know, but it works different. I don't know why exactly, but all the others, maybe like this one, it works normally. So you can just have some different lightings conditions, so you can compare it just by trying some other VPRs. And I like to leave it as the default intensity, the 0.85, and the distance means if like the sun, here we have also this light type. We have sun, spot, glow, and point, radial. By default, I like to use the sun, normal one, nothing different. And let me show you this one. That was the example, right? You can see that nothing different. Light type is sun. Here I didn't change anything. Matte light cap didn't change it, and also in background I also didn't change it because I gonna compose it in Photoshop, right? I just turn it on the shadow that I believe it comes without this. So let me show you how it works without shadow. So Shift R button, you start your BPR, you're processing the BPR, and looks how we have the nostrils like in light, the interior of his mouth. This is not with shadows, cast shadows, just the shadows of the lighting direction, but not the cast shadows. So once you turn on this and recalculate the BPR process pressing Shift R, you're gonna have this result as result. Let's see. Look how different it looks. Now it has the interior of his mouth darker, and we have more cast shadow on the other side. We have some cast shadow on his cloth, and also his nostrils doesn't look more so so bright, and this is more realistic as possible here in ZBrush, right? So I left these two lightings. I like it, this one coming from this diagonal angle, and I also like it this one. Let me turn off this one that is the default one, that I think it's it's similar than to the reference we used. Let me see. Yeah, I think it's closer to the reference we use it. And remember, for the hairs, I use it in this case that hair 2 material. I think this one. Let me check. Just doing review. Yeah, it was the hair 2 material. I attributed to the hair, and also for the eyebrows, I think was pretty much the same. No, for the eyebrows it's in basic material normally, so I don't know, it was with more shadows. You can do all the tests and check by yourself, you know. But yeah, so there is that's it. I just yeah, for the clothes it was pretty much the same. You can even make some very thin fiber mesh for the clothes, so we could have more that fiber looking. But as this is just a normal ZBrush presentation, and I won't do this. But yeah, so in the next lecture we're gonna start with to generating all the passes and composing it in Photoshop. Okay, let's go.